Never judge a book by its cover, or a movie by its trailer. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today, we're counting down our picks for the top 20 misleading movie trailers.
Leave nothing in my heart. Fill me only with what I need to fight.
For this list, we're looking at teasers and trailers that misled audiences, in terms of a movie's style, tone, genre, or plot. We're not saying that these films are bad, some were better than expected, though we'll try to keep it to a minimum. A spoiler alert is in effect. Number 20, Colossal.
I just looked at the news and I think I'm in shock.
Unlike the first trailer for most monster movies, this indie sci-fi flick was happy to reveal its large creature up front. What it only vaguely alluded to, however, were the film's darker undertones. When it was billed as a black comedy, most people assumed the darkness came from the fact that this kaiju was destroying Seoul. But in reality, the issues are much more personal. Given the age of the characters, the presence of beers in the trailer seems unremarkable. But in hindsight, they were first signs of the real problem: alcohol addiction. The film also gets pretty deep into domestic abuse and toxic relationships. Not exactly the quirky ride people signed up for.
You're lucky that the rest of us don't have
I thought you were leaving!
Lucky that the rest of us
You're
don't
lucky I don't call the cops on you, you junkie!
Number 19, Ghost World.
What do you think you're doing? Shut up that damn noise! Rock and roll, baby. Freedom of speech.
As with Colossal, the trailer for this graphic novel adaptation also seemed to suggest a lighthearted comedy. In fact, it's much more of a tragedy. Ghost World's trailer basically shows every joke in the movie, giving the impression that it's a typical coming-of-age flick filled with awkward teenage humor.
Hey, you! How many times I tell you? No chef, no service. Get the hell out of my store. What do you think this is, Club Med? It's America, dude.
In actual fact, the story follows two cynical teenage girls who play a cruel prank on a lonely man.
Wow, this is so bad, it's almost good.
This is so bad, it's gone past good and back to bad again.
This triggers a series of events that sees the girls drifting apart and several other relationships in ruins. It's far more evocative and dramatic than the trailer lets on. Number 18, Adventureland.
Party at my house tonight. My dad's out of town.
Yeah, I'm invited.
Once you make one popular movie, all your others will be judged according to its standards. Such is the unfortunate case with director Greg Mottola, whose gross-out Superbad was a hit with audiences.
What am I supposed to do? I'm not even qualified for manual labor.
This meant that his intimate and meaningful film Adventureland, about a young adult who gets a job at an amusement park, was marketed as another crass, inappropriate film like his predecessor. Although audiences were treated to a relatable story filled with surprising depth, many left disappointed that they didn't see more nut shots and awkward sex scenes.
Let's party!
Number 17, the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water. The movie's called Sponge Out of Water, so it seems obvious to market the movie as a SpongeBob adventure on land rather than the ocean floor.
With this magic book, any evil plan I write comes true.
The movie follows SpongeBob and his gang as they travel to the surface to take back a magical book, but the problem is that they only break the surface in the last 20 minutes.
What is this place? Uh-oh.
While audiences were expecting an animation live-action hybrid on the surface, they were instead given a typical SpongeBob experience with only a fraction of the running time actually taking place on land.
Those guys must work out. I think they're in my spin class.
Number 16, The Place Beyond the Pines. Ryan Gosling and Bradley Cooper are two of this generation's finest actors, so naturally, filmmakers wanted to show the two together when marketing this film.
Who's that guy?
The trailer focuses extensively on Gosling and his story, even though the film is split into 3 distinct acts, and Gosling disappears after the first. It's a fantastic story about what it means to be a father, and director Derek Cian-France was praised for his ambition, but that ambition was misrepresented in the trailer, which only focuses on a small part of a much larger framework.
My son and I should be around him. I wasn't around my dad, look the way I turned out.
How are you gonna take care of us?
Number 15, Contagion. Steven Soderbergh's thriller about a devastating pandemic has certainly not lost any relevance today.
They're calling out the National Guard. They're moving the president underground.
People will panic.
Get away!
It will tip over.
The truth is being kept from the world.
Contagion is about the spread of a deadly virus around the world, and the trailer is packed with action scenes and images straight out of a horror movie, from post-apocalyptic cityscapes to military checkpoints.
What are you talking about? What happened to her?
As such, many moviegoers were surprised when Contagion turned out to be an incredibly realistic depiction of a pandemic, featuring a lot of scientific research and talking. It wasn't what the trailer led people to expect, but proved fascinating all the same.
It's figuring us out faster than we're figuring it out. It's mutated.
Number 14, The Cabin in the Woods.
Everybody ready?
It's hard to convey satire in a trailer, so we guess they decided to just drop the satirical angle altogether and create another typical looking scary movie preview. The trailer features every cliche in the book, including a secluded cabin and a creepy gas station attendant, all playing over loud rock music and ominous text. What they failed to convey was that the movie was actually satirizing these elements and creating an original horror movie that paid homage to all that came before in a unique fashion.
That's not fair. I had zombies too.
Yes, you did. Yes, you had zombies. But this is zombie redneck torture family, see?
Number 13, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I'm Clementine, by the way.
I'm Joel.
With what's perhaps one of the oddest trailers ever, this movie was marketed as a lighthearted romantic comedy when it was anything but. The preview shows clips of the characters having tons of goofy fun, complete with happy, bubbly music in the background.
I loved you on this day. Please let me keep this memory.
The eraser guys are coming here.
The movie is actually about a couple erasing their memories of each other, and is an intensely dramatic and at times depressing film.
Bye, Joel.
I love you.
Maybe in montage.
It even won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, proving how complex and emotional the film really is. Why they used a song like Mr. Blue Sky is beyond us, although we're guessing they were deliberately misleading us. Number 12, Funny People. Just like Adventureland director Greg Mottola, Judd Apatow has a penchant for raunchy comedies, so when his dramatic Funny People was released, the trailers tried to get as many of his fans on board as possible.
I enjoy your movies.
And I enjoy all of your movies.
Which movies?
The ones where you try to kill Bruce Willis.
The trailer is filled with goofy jokes and an upbeat-sounding song, portraying a fun movie. The actual experience definitely wasn't as innocent, as the film deals with Sandler's impending death from cancer and his failure as a romantic partner.
You have a very serious disease. It's called AML. It's a form of leukemia.
The film's even been compared to The Great Gatsby due to its tragic nature, so when you go in thinking it's an Adam Sandler comedy, well, you will be surprised.
Get in the ball, George! Ball up!
Fight like a man, would ya?
I don't know how to fight. I'm a comedian!
Number 11, The Rules of Attraction. As the funky music starts and we start watching teenagers party, drink, and generally misbehave, it seems like we're witnessing the coming-of-age teen comedy of the year.
So I pretend to be a vampire. Search for this night's prey. Who will it be?
With James Van Der Beek uttering one-liners throughout the trailer, we were under the impression that we'd be leaving the theater laughing.
I think I'm in love with this girl. She's sweet, pure, innocent. She's a virgin.
What we got instead was a pessimistic story centered on a sociopath, which also features suicide and is filled with a lot of unhappy teens struggling with alcoholism, drug addiction, promiscuity, and depression.
Abstinence is 100% safe, which is less of a percentage than...
Whatever, I don't care. I don't major in math.
Number 10, Suicide Squad. Kudos to whoever edited the trailer for this poorly received but financially lucrative DC film. Set to Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody, the trailer promised a highly stylish, atmospheric film. It looked like it was going to be a relatively gritty flick, but one with enough quirks and dark humor to avoid coming across as gloomy. Basically, it came across as an angsty action flick with superpowers. And for all intents and purposes, it seemed to pretty clearly set up the Joker as the villain.
I'm kidding. That's not what they really said.
Sadly, this sense of identity was sorely lacking in the actual film, and the Joker was reduced to little more than a bit player.
Bring the car around. We're going for a drive.
Number 9, Executive Decision.
Excuse me, sir. May I help you?
Featuring a plot to poison the entire eastern seaboard and performances by the likes of Steven Seagal and Kurt Russell, the sneak peek for this action film really had moviegoers pumped. With Seagal leading the strike force to commandeer the plane that's been hijacked, the trailer convinces us, with explosions, one-liners, and smooth voiceover, that this is going to be another action flick in which Seagal will entertain us with some serious butt-kicking.
You can forget Washington. There's enough nerve agent here to wipe out half the eastern seaboard.
Most of us were surprised then when the star died in Executive Decision's first 20 minutes.
Someone has got to close the hatch now or we're all gonna die! Do it now! We're losing pressure!
So much for kicking butt. More like kicking the bucket.
We're not gonna make it! You are...
Number 8. Jarhead.
See that kid? The one dreaming of serving his country?
From the moment this trailer opens, the sight of a bald Jake Gyllenhaal as a soldier is enough to convince us to put this movie on our must-watch list. With scenes of commanding officers barking out orders, military exercises, explosions, gunshots, and planes zooming overhead, we thought that this 2005 film might be another Saving Private Ryan. However, fans of action-packed war movies were disappointed to find out that Jarhead was actually a biographical drama that intentionally contained very little action.
You think you're the only one that's bored around here?
In fact, Gyllenhaal's character never actually ends up shooting his rifle. Number 7. Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. The trailer of this gothic revenge tale begins by showing a young man, played by Johnny Depp, with a wife and child enjoying a happy life.
Until a man of power stole his freedom, destroyed his family.
But this is soon destroyed by a corrupt judge who sends him off on what seems to be false charges while his wife and child are captured. He returns a changed man and is now a killer who gangs up with his landlady and has a desire for revenge.
No Barker. Sweeney Todd now, and he will have his revenge.
What the trailer doesn't tell you is that the flick is a musical, and that Johnny Depp and the rest of the gang sing on, and on, and on.
Put it on a bun. You never know if it's going to run.
Number 6. Pan's Labyrinth. The trailer for Guillermo del Toro's masterpiece featured an English narration and showcased the film's fantasy elements.
There lived a young girl whose only escape was in a legend that wanted her back.
Yes, the opening shots were of real-life battle, but this seemed to be the incidental background to an enchanting fairy tale.
The legend speaks of the lost soul of a princess from another world who will one day be reborn.
So you could have been forgiven for sitting down in theaters expecting a delightful fable. In fact, though, the movie's in Spanish and the historical context plays an essential role, with the film exploring the brutal Francoist dictatorship in the aftermath of the Spanish Civil War. It was a powerful fusion of history and fantasy, and in this case, viewers got much more than the trailer suggested. Number 5. Drive. Featuring a calm and stony-faced Ryan Gosling, the trailer for Drive convinced viewers that they were in for a flick reminiscent of the Fast and the Furious movies.
You give me a time and a place, I give you a 5-minute window.
Anything happens in that 5 minutes and I'm yours, no matter what. I don't sit in while you're running it down, I don't carry a gun. I drive.
It was packed with revving engines, squealing tires, dangerous stunts, and gunshots. So many were taken aback when the film turned out to be more of an emotional and layered drama than a mindless action picture.
I have to go somewhere and I don't think I can come back.
One Michigan woman was so upset about being misled into thinking it was a race action film, she took the case to court and threw in accusations of anti-Semitism to boot. A judge dismissed her case, as did a court of appeals.
How about this? Shut your mouth, or I'll kick your teeth down your throat and I'll shut it for you.
Number 4. Godzilla.
You are not fooling anybody when you say that what happened was a natural disaster.
Don't get us wrong, the trailer for 2014's Godzilla does capture the suspense, dread, and epic scale of the movie.
Because what's really happening is that you're hiding something out there.
However, it also makes it look like Cranston has the lead role, a strategic choice that capitalized on his Breaking Bad popularity.
And it is gonna send us back to the Stone Age!
Well, turns out his monologue used in the trailer is one of the most powerful parts of the film, but his character actually dies at the end of Godzilla's first act.
We're losing him. Joe, can you hear me? He's going at AFib. Give me another epi, 1 milligram. 40 units of vasopressin.
His son, a generic soldier hero type, takes over the lead instead. Cranston later called this decision a mistake, removing the emotional core of the film. Number 3. Hook. This trailer opened up almost like a slasher flick. It's there in the eerie music, the children opening their eyes in the dark, and the door latch slowly lifting, before the doors shoot open and green light pours in. The sneak peek made viewers think that Hook was going to somehow lean into the serial killer or monster movie genre.
He's come back to seek his revenge.
Only you can save your children.
In reality, this Steven Spielberg film about an adult Peter Pan rescuing his kids in Neverland ended up being a charming, funny, and magical family adventure.
Lost boys, wake up! That was my pillow!
Number 2. Bridge to Terabithia. Two children laugh and run together into a forest. Inside is a magical kingdom filled with fairies, walking trees, and an assortment of other bizarre and fascinating creatures. This trailer has all the features of a kid-friendly adventure fantasy that are sure to lift the soul and inspire the imagination.
What do we call this place?
Terabithia.
Unfortunately, anyone hoping for these characteristics must have been quite disappointed. What they got was an emotional drama about kids struggling with grief, abandonment, and death. There was actually very little of the Enchanted Kingdom shown so prominently in the trailer.
Is it like the Bible says? Is she going to hell?
I don't know everything about God, but I do know he's not going to send that little girl to hell.
Then I'm going to hell because it's all my fault.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Alien 3. This teaser trailer played off of the famous tagline for the first movie in the franchise.
In 1979, we discovered in space, no one can hear you scream.
This announcement seemed to make it clear that the threequel would be set on Earth, which it most definitely was not.
In 1992, we will discover on Earth, everyone can hear you scream.
It was actually set on a prison planet.
Here.
Fury 161. It's one of Weyland-Yutane's backwater work prisons. It grieves me to say.
The reason for the misleading trailer was that at the time of its release, the sci-fi horror movie hadn't been completed. In fact, filming began before there was even a final script. Production issues and multiple rewrites resulted in a completely different movie, one that largely disappointed fans. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.